that message too. I wasn't sure. So I do not see a recording. Pause, stop recording.
Okay.
It must be going then.
It must be going, even though I don't see
It shows recording on mine. Yeah.
Okay, it's showing now too.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it just came back. All right, very good. All right, with that in mind, then we'll start. Miles had the agenda together. Usually we have the police and the fire department go first, but we can start with Jaspreet. So THPRD.
Great, thank you. Can everyone hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. As Ernie and Lani mentioned, my name is Jaspreet Chahal. I serve as the Community Engagement Specialist and am the staff liaison for Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District to this lovely NAC. Thank you for the opportunity to provide some updates from the Park District tonight. We have, I have the following updates to share with you this evening. First off, we are still offering our out-of-school care programs out of Cedar Hills and Conestoga. Spots are still available. And the recently announced Beaverton School District CARES funds can be used for tuition towards that program. We also have some spots available in, no spots available at the preschool programs, but we are accepting applications for a wait list, which will help us determine if and when we need to expand the program. A quick update, trails updates for you. The new Bethany Creek Trail is now open, and it connects the Rock Creek and Westside trails to Northwest Springville. And THPRD and Clean Water Services are working on stream enhancement and bridge replacement at Fanner Creek Greenway. The new bridge will be installed this month, so this month meaning the month of November. We're extending our off-leash dog space at Ridgewood Park, and staff have temporarily installed a pop-up dog run at that neighborhood park. And this Saturday, November 14th, there's a dog-themed event as well. And at this event, staff and volunteers will be gathering feedback to determine if the dog run should become a permanent feature at the park. Just a few volunteer updates for you. Over the past few months, the district has engaged 21 volunteers who've contributed 60 hours of their time to help winterize our community gardens. And these projects are really are turning out to be a great opportunity for quarantining families and neighbors to socialize at a safe distance outdoors, as well as giving back to the community. Talking Wall update. Some of you may be familiar with our Talking Walls project, which is a public art mural that previously, one of our Talking Walls last month was installed at Sunset Park. And in November 15th, this Sunday, we have a second set of Talking Walls, which will be installed at the Greenway Park. And this is in collaboration and participation with youth from Native American Youth and Family Center, NAA. And our maintenance staff are working on winterizing, so they're clearing debris from roofs, gutters, downspouts, and so on. We've got tree management with hot, dry summers and recent windstorms. Staff are paying extra attention to tree health and hazards, as well as they've invested extra time in inspecting trees and natural areas. Cedar Mill Creek Sewer Project, staff have been working closely with Clean Water Services to plan for visitor safety, select a contractor, and to minimize environmental impacts for the upcoming sewer project at the Tualatin Hills Nature Park. Pre-construction work could start this winter. Finally, we're just wanted to share that the district has financial aid available for those who qualify. This is $200 per person per household for qualifying families, and for families whose income falls below the federal free meal guidelines, and they can receive $200 per person, which is can be used towards activities, THPRD activities and events throughout the year. Finally, we've got Westside Trail Bridge, and THPRD is exploring the development of a pedestrian bicycle bridge over Highway 26 to link Westside Trail from Southwest Greenbrier Parkway to the north side of Highway 26. And during this phase of the project, which is 2020 through 2021, the district will also study the practicality of constructing this bridge. To learn more, I can share a link with everyone to the project webpage. And lastly, we've got our adult volleyball league, which is now started and underway at the Athletic Center, which consists of over 40 teams that play Monday through Thursday evenings at the Athletic Center. And an aquatics update, water fitness has started at Conestoga, an aquatics center, and folks can sign up through the reservation system. I should mention though that following the governor's 2-week pause that was announced recently, there have been some changes, and currently we're in the process of updating the website with the latest information about indoor, the number of people allowed in an indoor space. And I'm hesitant to share exactly what that number is, just because I don't want to contradict any information that comes out tomorrow. With that, I know there was just a lot that I shared there, but any questions that anyone had?
I do.
Yeah.
In the past, I know that we've contributed to some of the holiday trees, and I know it's a little bit early to ask, but if I wait to ask till next month, it may be too late. But will there be any of the holiday trees to donate towards families?
And are we asking for a holiday gift giving drive?
Yes, but is that the same thing when they hang the things?
Yes, the gift tag. Thank you. That's an excellent point. So there's a slight variation on previous years. So what we're doing instead this year is we're collecting gift cards for local retailers at large and small stores. Think Target, think Fred Meyer, any businesses that, and the thinking was that we wouldn't spend so much time wrapping gifts and empower families to spend the money where they need it most. It could be transit, it could be fuel, it could be anything else that they would like to spend it at. And gift cards, we're accepting donations from anywhere from $5 to $50 or more, and they can be dropped off at the currently 5 open district facilities. And again, I will share that information in the chat. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Anything else I can answer?
I don't see anything. Thank you. Appreciate that, Jaspreet. Next up then, so TDFNR, it's not in here. We're going to include, Miles is going to include a link in the list, but there is a monthly YouTube video by TVFNR and their chief, who goes through and gives an update on everything. And basically that's what would replace their presentation for the NAC. They're doing that in regards to safety and everything else. I'll see if I can find that. In the meantime, then we'll move to the Beaverton Police Department. Officer Haugen.
Hello, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Pulled up the crime statistics. Seeing an uptick in the crime statistics for the Denny, Whitford, Raleigh Hills area. There's been an uptick, almost double in the number of thefts. Those could be theft from vehicles, thefts from packages, theft from stores, but quite a big increase in that. And I attribute that to kind of the situation that's kind of going on around here with the COVID. The jail is limited on the number of people that they are accepting. So a lot of the people that we're getting a lot of the same people committing the same crime. And unfortunately, when we catch them, it's all we do is write them a ticket to show up for court. As when I compare that, the drug or drug crime calls, I guess, have also gone up. Unfortunately, there's typically a correlation between people that have substance abuse issues and the theft, because that's kind of what happens. So I'm seeing an uptick in that. Also, just because of these things that are going on in the Portland area, city of Portland with staffing and the demonstrations, their staffing has been directed towards other things. And so you're seeing a lot of, or we are seeing a lot of people coming from Multnomah County committing crimes. We're finding a lot of stolen vehicles being dropped off and dumped. We call them dumped, just being left in Beaverton. Just because unfortunately it's at this point, it's not a big, it's not a priority for Portland. As far as events going on, we don't have anything, just again, because of the COVID. And positive thing, is we moved into our new building. It's fantastic. When things are safe, I would like to actually host our NAC at the police department, and we could also include a tour with at the end or the beginning of the meeting, which I think would be a fantastic idea. Trying to think of some other things. As far as staffing goes, we're currently in the process of hiring a social media person to the police department. Also, we've received a lot of interest and applications for lateral applicants for our open positions. I think we have 7 or 8 open positions within our police department right now. As far as scheduling goes, the city's been fantastic. And our chief's been fantastic with the scheduling, just because of, again, COVID wanting to keep us safe. We have been on a modified schedule off and on since this whole thing kind of kicked off. So again, I can't stress enough how great the city's been, our chief's been with, trying to keep us safe, keep our families safe. So again, a shout out to them. Other than that, I don't have anything else unless people have some questions.
Any questions? So I like the idea of having the NAC meeting down there and getting a tour. I think that would be pretty cool. So hopefully sooner better than later, but we'll see how it goes and everything else works out. But yes, something to look forward to. So thank you for that. I guess the only question I had was, is the vehicle abandoned piece, is that part of this whole, you hear somebody will steal a car from the east side and then they'll take it over to the west side where it's less likely to be, Jimmy's car got stolen up the street and now it's down at the end of the street, as opposed to it's a car that could be anywhere, so they don't recognize it. Or is there a lot of that going on, or are these just, you just drop it off and leave it and walk away?
Drop off, leave it, walk away, that, or they're staying at hotels. What we can lodge somebody on in the Washington County Jail is different than what they can lodge people on at Multnomah County Jail. Just, I think that's set by the sheriffs of each county. And so we get criminals that come from Multnomah County and they're used to committing crimes in Multnomah County, and they're used to not going to jail or just getting a ticket. So I'm thinking that they're venturing out this way, realizing kind of, hey, that, we take things a little bit more seriously. We have the abilities to lodge people on certain crimes. So I think people are just, we're catching people actually in stolen cars. I'd say in the past couple of weeks, I personally have been involved in locating, I think it was 3 stolen cars, 2 that had people in them. So, and I believe they were all from Multnomah County. So, and I think it's just them not knowing and venturing over into our county.
All right. Interesting. Thank you. Any other questions? Excellent, sir. Appreciate your time as always, and thank you for your work and being out there in the front lines for us. So thank you.
Yeah. And one more thing, Ernie, I'd like to give a shout out also to just like the citizens, like I guess in Beaverton. We've been hearing a lot of negative stuff over the past few months about law enforcement across the United States, but people in Beaverton have been super supportive of us, coming up, thanking us for doing a great job. And it means a lot because, you know, it kind of, hearing a lot of negative stuff in the news over and over again, it kind of brings you down. But when people coming up, citizens coming up to us saying, hey, you know, thank you for what you do and keep doing a good job, it means a lot. So thank you guys for thinking of us.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, yes, I think to speak for everybody, it's a big thank you all the way around. Not just now, but always, but especially now for everything. I've seen a couple of signs, people put them up in the front yards too, saying thank you for first responders and the police. I saw one the other day was specifically about Beaverton Police Department. So kudos on that, because I think you're right. People are looking for some good stuff, and you folks are one of them. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, next up then we have one presentation, and that is going to be from ODOT. So we'll let Lili and Matt take over and let us know what's going on here.
All right, good evening. I'm Lili Boicourt with ODOT Community Affairs, and I'm here with Matt Freitag, who is also with ODOT. He's an area manager. And we're here to talk about the Highway 217 Auxiliary Lane project, which is going to construction in a little over a year from now. We were at your meeting probably about a year ago. Went through the details of the project. I'm not sure if there's, I'm sure not everyone that was there is here tonight, but I'm just going to take some time to just go through what this project is coming up. It's a, and then we're here to answer questions. Again, starting the end of 2021, next year, we're going to begin construction on a $134 million project to improve Highway 217. And I'm guessing that you are familiar with the issues on 217, and there's a lot of unpredictability, very unreliable, a lot of high crash rate, kind of never know what you're going to get. We're seeing that, or we know that with the closely spaced interchanges that are on 217 is causing a lot of those issues with a lot of merging conflicts and a lot of people getting on and off pretty quickly. And so one of the main parts of the project is to build auxiliary lanes on 217, which are ramp-to-ramp connections. And so those are, it gives drivers the ability to have a lane to be merging in and out of without interfering with the traffic that's going through and not merging. So we have examples of some auxiliary lanes now on 217, but these new ones will be connecting multiple interchanges as opposed to connecting just one interchange to the next. So for this project, we will be building an auxiliary lane on the southbound side, starting just south of Beaverton Hillsdale Highway and going down to 99W. And on the northbound side, we'll be starting on 99W and heading up to and going as far as Shoals Ferry Road. Those will be, as I said, connected auxiliary lanes that will reduce those merging conflicts and help the highway be more efficient and safer and fewer crashes. Another big piece of the project is, I know this is right in your neck of the woods, is reconfiguring the Allen and Denny interchanges. So those two interchanges are one of the two closest interchanges in terms of their proximity to each other. And so we are planning on the southbound side only to build a frontage road between the two, similar to what you see between Canyon Road and Beaverton Hillsdale Highway, which will allow us to remove 2 of the 4 ramps between those 2 interchanges. So we are going to have a frontage road connecting Allen Road to Denney Road that drivers will use, and we will end up permanently closing the on-ramp from Allen Road and the off-ramp to Denney Road. And then drivers will use that new frontage road to get between the two. And I can show you, just a second, bring up a visual to help show that. Okay, so you can see here that this is the Allen and the Denney interchanges. These two ramps will be going away permanently, and we're going to have a road that runs between the two, just basically between 217 and the railroad tracks. And as I said, it's very similar to what you see to the north between Canyon and Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. And then if, with the removal of these two ramps, if somebody wants to get onto 217 from Allen, for instance, and head south, they would actually get on the frontage road, take the frontage road to Denny, and then use the Denny on-ramp, and the same thing with getting off. So one thing we will be doing is the on-ramp here from Denny, we will be widening that because we're expecting obviously more drivers using that one. So there'll be a lot of work in this area during construction because even widening the on-ramp here at Denny requires building a bridge over Fano Creek. Or widening the bridge, sorry, the frontage road requires building a bridge over Fano Creek, but the on-ramp requires widening a bridge because all of that is elevated. So that will be a big change that you'll see when the project's finished. We also are making some bicycle and pedestrian improvements, and those are in partnership with City of Beaverton and Washington County. We are widening a sidewalk on Denney Road as it goes across the highway. Also, there's going to be an extension here. It's kind of hard to see, but the Fano Creek Trail ends here, just south of Allen. And that extension, we're going to be making that extension all the way up to Allen, which will then make it that connect all those Fano Creek trails as far north as Allen. And then we're also widening the bridge, the Hall Bridge over 217, the one near Shoals Ferry Road near Washington Square. We're widening that to add sidewalks on both sides. There's only sidewalk on one side, and also to add bike lanes. And farther south, Hall Boulevard actually crosses 217 twice. So on the Tigard side, down by 99W, that bridge, that Hall Bridge over 217 has to be replaced to accommodate the new auxiliary lanes. And then that bridge will go back in. It'll have wider sidewalks and wider bike lanes. And we'll have a we'll have a detour in place while that's out. It'll be about 6 months that bridge is going to be out. We'll also have a temporary bike pedestrian bridge there for people to be able to bike and walk while the main bridge is out for that 6-month period. We're also building 4 sound walls. One of them is up, 3 of them are in Tigard, and one is up in Beaverton, just kind of just right by Whitford Middle School, just south of that. Let's see, there's a lot of pieces to this project. As I said, it's a big one, and it'll also be about a 4-year construction period that we'll be in. So it'll continue until about 2025. So there's a lot ahead of us. The team's been working really hard on getting this design together. We're in the last months of design, and that will be finalized this spring, and then we'll be heading into the construction phase. One thing that we are doing is we know a little bit more about what the traffic impacts are going to be. So as I said, as an example, we're going to be closing that Hall overpass down in Tigard for about 6 months. The Hall overpass on the north end, where we're widening it for the bike ped improvements, we're not closing it, but there'll be a lot of there'll be a lot of traffic impacts there on Hall. And then on 217 itself, we're going to have nighttime lane and ramp closures. We're going to have some weekend ramp closures. We're going to have some longer term ramp closures. We're going to have some directional closures on 217 while we're paving at the end of the project. It's going to be sort of messy. It's going to be, when we're done, I think we'll all be so thrilled, but we're going to have a little bit of pain getting there. About a year from now, when we're ready and we have the contractor on board, we're going to come back out and we'll have a lot more details about the traffic impacts and what to expect. And also next week, we're going to be launching an online open house. So I invite you to check that out. I'll put the URL in the comments here. And if any of you want to be added to the email distribution list for this project, go ahead and put your email in the comments and I can make sure that you're added to that so you can see all of the future updates. I think that was really fast. I just wanted to make sure there was plenty of time for questions, and I'm happy to answer anything. Matt and I are can take just about anything. So does anybody have any questions?
On the map that you showed for bridge number 4, the in Tigard, where Hall crosses, you said that's going to be shut down for a while, but there'll be a detour in place for pedestrians and cyclists. I'm curious at the other place where Hall into the other 2 overpass bridges. Are those going to be shut down at any point completely to pedestrians and cyclists? And is there a plan or detours for those?
The Hall overpass in Tigard is the only one that's going to have that long-term closure, like the bridge will literally be gone. So that's why it has that long-term closure, and the bikes and peds are actually building a temporary bike ped bridge just in that location. The other bridges that we're working on will have some daytime and nighttime lane closures. But at this point, I haven't heard that we're expecting any long-term closures of any other bridges.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of clarity on that one. We are doing a lot of work on the bridges. So the ones that have sidewalks on both sides, there may be some time periods where one side is closed. So people would need to cross the road, get across 217, then cross back over. So, but as far as connectivity, we will be making sure that for the vast majority of the time that bikes and pedestrians can get through the work area.
Thank you.
Yeah, good point, thanks.
Thank you. So one question on that maybe I missed it before, and that was the connection from Fano Creek to Allen. Is that in conjunction with the work that's going on at the former Greenwood Inn property, or are you going around the original easement that went around Pepper Tree that I see they've just kind of ignored as, well, that's ours now because they've pretty much taken over that original easement, the Holiday Inn folks?
Lili, you want me to take this one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So this connection that we're making from the existing Fano Creek Trail up to Allen, is it Allen or Denny? It's Allen. Yeah. We're actually partnering with the city of Beaverton. So the city will be constructing that segment. We contributed some project funds to that. So as far as the actual alignment of that connection, the city is still working on that, on where it's going to go. Generally where the end used to be, but I don't think they've finalized the location yet.
Okay, because I know a lot of people cut through there now, and in fact, it looks like what they did was they put grass. Apparently they're done because they put in the new swale, which had to accommodate for the 100-year floodplain for Fano Creek. That was done, but as soon as they did that, they pretty much seeded the whole area. But a lot of people go through there because that used to have a paved road. So I was just curious how that was going to work and who was coordinating that.
That mitigation area is being done by the city. If I had to assume, it would just be they put in the swale and then they had to seed everything just to get it stabilized. So they didn't have any bare earth that was eroding. So the next step will be putting in the path.
Yeah, we saw one presentation when Holiday Inn first came in, but it was at that time. I think the golf place was going to go in. That is canceled. They've withdrawn. They don't want to do that now, and so I was curious how that was going to work. So we'll wait and see what happens, but we'll reach out to the city on that one. So Lani, that would be interesting to know if they're going to follow through with the original plan that they had, which was which was on the east side by the bus barn, or whether they think they're going to go through somewhere different, because a lot of people use that to get to Allen. It's also going to be the connection to Western, given all the money they're spending on that path, because I think Ron had asked that in a meeting or two. Well, in the spring, he'd asked that, I think, how that was all going to connect. And so that would be interesting to know what their plan is with Holiday Inn.
All right. Ideally, they would have two different paths, one on the bus barn side and one on the pepper tree side, because depending on where you're going, if you're going through there, having the trail go fork either way would be helpful, which is what we said when the Holiday Inn people came.
Yeah, that was a good point. Right. Yeah. Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, because that was another one of those. The easement was there, the path was already there, and it's pretty much like they just completely ignored that and just kind of doing their own thing. So it'd be sad to lose that, what's already there. Any other questions? Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Lili. And
yeah,
Matt, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. And just so you know, your neighborhood chair, Ernie, is featured in the online open house next week. So look out for that.
Okay, we'll be
Thanks so much for
that.
having us, and we'll see you next year.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Next up, we have city updates. Lani?
Hi. So I just have a few items to give an update on. One is, in case you're wanting to know what the latest is with City Hall and city services, what to expect, we have everything on our website, and I'll put this in the chat, but it's at our beavertonoregon.gov /coronavirus. And we keep that up to date. So I feel like sometimes by the time we give you an update this evening, it's changed by tomorrow. That's probably the best website to go check on a regular basis. And if there's anything that's missing from there, please let me know. But that should be your one-stop shop. And just a few other helpful reminders that we just keep trying to do our part to repeat over and over is to just remind folks to wear a face covering when you're in indoor public spaces and outdoors when 6 feet of distance can't properly be maintained. And as you know, we definitely have cases rising. So just being really vigilant on this, and hand washing is also really key in helping with that. And also getting a flu shot is also recommended. The other thing that it might be another helpful resource for you to check out is the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. They've got additional details that they provide, as well as the Oregon Health Authority and our own Washington County Public Health Division in 211. So those are additional resources if you just aren't finding details on what you're looking for. The last thing I would say is that about remote services at City Hall and whatnot is that you can schedule in-person visits for passports. They're available by appointment, as well as some court and library services. And we do have proper distancing and safeguards in place with that. And the rest of our services, we are trying to make sure we've got those available remotely by phone or online, as well as you know, we're doing most of our meetings remote, as well as even trying to make most of our events go remote. The other area, just another update on, is our library, our BCL program. And this is where the library continues to operate the BCL to go, the hold pickup service at both of our library locations. And this is where library card holders can make an appointment to drop in for the BCL to go service, or you can walk up and you can then get your library services met that way. and I'll put this in our chat as well, the email address or website address that gives you more details about this program. And it's beavertonlibrary.org/BCL to go, which will give you the current hours of operation. And at both sites, we do have, we've got book drops available too, so that you can just at any time drop off your items that you've checked out. And I think the last item with the library is there's a really cool new feature that they've added. They have the computer lab at the main library from Tuesdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Wednesdays from 3 to 7. They're offering wireless printing. And so that's just one more way that if you need some extra help or you know someone that needs that service, they can go there and get their items printed out. And then for utility bill assistance, because of some extra COVID funds that are available, there is utility bill relief for qualified Washington County residents that are impacted by COVID-19. And so you can get help paying for your water, your sewer, your garbage, and other utility balances from March 1st through December 30th of this year. And this is in partnership with the Washington County Community Action. And if you need to go online to check out the details, because there's quite a bit that goes with this, it is at caowash.org. And that will give details. So you might want to share that with anyone that you know could use some extra assistance, who might have been laid off or struggling with COVID-19. And then there's one other area of assistance being offered, and that's for folks that might need housing and emergency rent assistance. We've already provided we haven't, but $700,000 has already been deployed through partner agencies, with another $300,000 that are now still remaining available for low-income renters. And that info is on our Beaverton, Oregon /housing page. And so I know it's a lot of info, so I'll put that all in the chat of all those different website addresses. But I think bottom line, the most current information is going to be updated on our web pages, and you guys are our eyes and ears. So if you're seeing something and you think it needs to be, you need to get information out about it, or if you go onto our webpage and you're having a hard time finding information, that also is, feel free just to send me an email or give me a call and let me know, because that's always really helpful to make sure that we can make this information as easy to find as possible. And that's all I've got. I did talk a lot though. I didn't mean to.
All right, thank you. Good info though. So
Yeah.
that helps. Also, I did reach out to the city and ask them about whatever happened to the Far West Fiber building, because when they had the presentation for the homeless, and also when we volunteered as a NAC board for the homeless shelter the one time across from the library, we also talked about where they could stay. And that was the lady that was going to be the property management coordinator for the buildings down there said that she would help, and we never really heard back from that, and that's been like 2 years now. So I asked the city if they could find out what was going on with that, because when I went through there the other day, those buildings were all empty. Well, I think there's only 1 or 2 businesses in all those buildings down there, so it would be interesting to see if there's a way for them to help, especially since they had brought that up and made a suggestion when they'd first talked about remodeling that and cleaning that up. So thanks, Lani, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions? Perfect. Next up, BCCI report. Rick?
Great. Happy let's see, make sure yep, I am. I'm not muted. Only a couple of light things. I mean, there's been a whole series of topics that have run through BCCI in talking about diversity, talking about police reform, talking about a number of different topics, but probably the 2 main ones that I think could impact us. One was the big one that BCCI focused on was the Voters Forum, which was trying to do the online. In the past, it had always been live. They did it down at Beaverton High School, but this year they had to do it live. And it had the mayor's race, city council race, and Washington County Commission race, which really was, I mean, from all the people that I know who went and watched it, were absolutely raving about it. So a lot of the questions that the that the NAC sent in, because our folks who were providing all the questions, they would tag it if it came from a NAC specifically. So worked out really well, and a lot of the questions I thought were pretty tough and put people on the spot. We got some interesting people to be elected. So we've got some new faces. It's been a little bit interesting. Lacey had been the liaison to BCCI, and then she then passed it to Kate Arnold, and now Kate's going out the door. So it looks like BCCI is going to get a third one. I think it was supposed to be Laura Mitchell, but Lani, unless you know, I don't know who we're going to get yet. So
yeah, I think it'll be decided in early January.
okay, all right. So BCCI is going to get another liaison to do, which is, it's wonderful too, because you're getting firsthand conversations with a city councilor. So it works out really well. The other one that was a big topic that took up a lot of heat, and I think ultimately, I think we better touch it too, is the combination of the changes that are coming under House Bill 2001, and it's kind of a twin, which is the housing options project that the city of Beaverton's been working on. The city was doing the housing options project kind of in this way, and now that HB 2001 passed, which basically has eliminated single-family residential zoning in the city of Beaverton, you now have this impact between the two of them as they're now trying to figure out how do they redefine housing options in the city of Beaverton when you can put up whatever you want. So it may very well be that, especially, and I would say that based on what I saw in the maps that they had created, this NAC and West Slope are ground zero. Because we've got a lot of big sized lots with medium-sized housing and very light density. So with that, those are the primary topics.
All right, there we go. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate that. Yeah, that I remember when they first came out and they had the survey about what we thought of the ADU situation. And I think a lot of people gave their feedback and they kind of went forward with it. So it'd be interesting to see how this all resolves. I know that as some of the developments over, especially on like Garden Home, as those get developed and some of those properties in there, some of those have needed to be annexed if they went with Beaverton District Service on Garden Home. If they were able to tap into Clearwater that runs there behind, under Fano Creek itself, under the Fano Creek Trail, right. Then they didn't need to be annexed. But the ones that are connecting on the front of Garden Home, those will, and it'd be interesting to see how that kind of impacts developers, because I know they're still trying to remain Washington County and connect in the back so they don't have to. So that'll be. Yeah, that'll be interesting to keep up on that.
Well, Rob Zoller, who's the point guy for the city on the housing options project, it was significantly stressed the last time he did a presentation to BCCI about the impacts after they've got all these rules that they were getting set to put in to make the changes, and took all of this community involvement about the ADUs. And here comes 2001, which basically just undercut virtually all the work. So at least I'm paraphrasing. And right. So now they're going to have to figure out how are they going to fit that in, because they've only got a 2-year window. Because if you don't put your own rules in by 2022, the state gets to say what the rules are for you.
Right.
So it's a very short time frame. And again, our NAC is running in our space. We got a lot of big lots.
Yeah, it's interesting that Highland, when I'd heard that, it was interesting that Highland didn't come out too, because they're at like 95% residential. And right. we have a pretty fair, I think probably in all the NACs, we have the biggest mix of, we have some industrial, we have commercial, and then we have residential, and, we're piecemealed all the way around. But yeah, so I think on the outskirts, especially over in the Washington County side and closer to Multnomah, there definitely some bigger lots.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Interesting. Thank you. Next up, I'm not sure why we're going this way. So let's come back to the board elections here, because we have the board business first, though. Treasurer's report with Sheri.
Yes, as usual, nothing major. I think there was 79 cents put into the business interest checking account. So I do have something under new business that I already alluded to. So if we could talk at the proper time about the Christmas donations that we've done for the last 2 years, I would appreciate it.
Okay, the next thing would be the consent agenda, which is the only thing on there is the meeting minutes from the last time we met, which was last month, or I'm sorry, month before.
September.
Yeah, September, thank you. And were there, unless there were any comments or changes, then we'd take a motion to.
I didn't see those on the website. The last one I saw was for June. So, yeah, I didn't see them.
Oh, that's right. We didn't. How would that? Okay, then we will not be able to. Right, we'll have to check. Yeah, is that, Lani, is there a different way to do that, or do we need to wait for an email or a reminder or something as part of that? Because
they're on there now. I just looked. I'm not sure when they got on there.
I wonder if you updated it when the agenda came out, because that's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough time. Yeah, we'll have to look those over.
Yeah, I think it's really, if you guys are comfortable enough, if you've had enough time to look them over, and if you haven't, then yeah, you would want to probably move that to next month. I can make sure I email that out the week in advance with the agenda next month.
Yeah, is a week enough time for everybody?
And is Miles still the right person to send those to?
Yeah, and
Okay.
why don't you send them to me as well, since I'll send you the email like I did tonight.
Yeah, because I usually have them done either the night of the meeting or the next day. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's a possibility I didn't look at the right spot too. It just that was the last one that I found.
Okay. And so I'll make sure next I'll send it out to you guys in advance when I do the agenda as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I didn't initially catch that was on. He had that on the agenda, and I'm used to getting our meeting minutes with the Traffic Commission packet. So we get that the week before, and then it's just in the packet, and you kind of go through it. So just one of those regular processes. So yeah, we'll need to wait then on that until next month, and then we can do both. We are going to have a meeting in December. We have at least one person so far. It's requested a presentation during the meeting. So unless we need to postpone that or something comes up, we'll be having a December meeting. Okay, with that in mind then, is there any other regular board business? Okay, so then next then let's go to the board elections then. We did not nominate because we didn't meet. The meeting was canceled last, so October's meeting. So it didn't sound like anything was going to change. Were there any changes to any of the board situation? Is anybody leaving? Good. All right. With that then, I guess we would make a motion to retain the board as is for Denny, Whitford, Raleigh West for the 2020-2021 year.
Need me to make the motion, or do I?
No, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion. Yeah, let me be clear. I'll make a motion that we retain the board as is for the 2020-2021 NAC year.
And I will second.
Okay. Are there any discussions or changes, I guess? Okay, that in mind then, Lani, do we need to just say aye, yay? Do you need a roll call? What do you need for that?
You can actually physically put your hand up. I'm just saying that for all those in favor, and then we can visually, and then just say, as I can see, everyone's hands are up.
Okay, so motion passes unanimous. All right, I know that, and we have to do it. We still have to do it verbally in Traffic Commission and Planning Commission. So I just want to make sure that we didn't do anything messing that part up. Okay, so welcome everyone again to another year. Carry on. With that then, last two items would be old business. Was there any old business that was a follow-up from before? I did receive 2 planning commission notifications. One of them was a change to the parking lot on the business behind what used to be the Big and Tall Warehouse, the clothing store there on Hall and Shoals, by the Taco Bell. So there's a place back in there, a business in there that wants to change the zoning so that they can change they basically want to get rid of the loading zone parking so they can have cars in there, I think. And then there was one other one that was just a change in, same thing, they wanted to change some processes, and those were the only 2 things that were just passing things that are going to go before the Planning Commission. If you're interested, you can check the process. I did look, last thing on that, I did look at the project list, Lani, for Denny, Whitford, the Raleigh West, and I went through some of the other NACs. It's interesting how I got a notice that there was a new process, and it was kind of hard to follow on that one. But some of those have been out there a long time, so those are technically still open from like 2017. There were a couple of old projects. I don't know if they got delayed. I know that the cell tower thing just continues to go on, and I've kind of given up on that because I think everybody was fine with it. But I've seen some other things out there, so I wondered if it was confusing to other people, what they can chime in on and what they can send to the Planning Commission before the hearings.
Oh, Sheri has something.
Oh, Sheri, yes.
Hi, curious as to why the issue that you talked about with the location for the Big and Tall store, why is that a NAC rather than a traffic commission or other type of committee concern?
Good question. That is not a NAC deal. So I'll make a distinction. Next month's presentation, or any of the presentations for the people that come to us outside of like ODOT, who are saying, you know, this is what we're doing, it's informational. The conditional use permits and the permits that require a group to go before the Planning Commission that have to do a public meeting, not a public hearing. They have to do a public meeting. Those are the things that come through the NAC. What I do get, and what the information was, is basically one of those zone 1, zone 2 things that don't require a public meeting. They're just going to go before the Planning Commission some evening and say, we'd like to change this. And in that case, it's on their private property. So it's a zoning change to the business that basically, it was interesting how they had to do. I should have probably grabbed it. I'd left it in the other room. But basically, it's changing the parking, the way that they had their parking lot, and they had to do something for the way the delivery was written to actually do that. Next month, they want to change the business type from an office business to a medical business, and that requires a conditional use. And so that has to be planning, because they're basically saying what used to be a quiet office building is now going to be a medical facility and have patients coming in and out, and a whole plethora of whatever that involves. So that's what's next month's presentation. Does that help? Okay, good. And I was just passing those along because I think if you go out there and look, you can send something into the Planning Commission and make a comment if you want, but most of the time they're just, those are seem to be straightforward, and they don't have any kind of huge impact, because those have to be, or those are private property, whereas like the things for the Traffic Commission were things like closing the whole street. So the one well, yeah, you were at the meeting. So the ones between there would be public right of ways, and those would come before us. Same with the parking for the library drop off. That had to go before a Traffic Commission, because that's the public road that's parking on the city street. And then we're basically saying, you know, we're eliminating those parking spaces altogether so they can do the drop off round. Okay, that was the old business. I think the new business then, Sheri, you want to do something about, I think we want to bring something up about discussing what to do next year for both THPRD and then what did we do? We did one other one I thought as well. Or was it just THPRD with the tree?
Yeah, I think we have done THPRD. I think the last 2 years we did the Harmon Swim Center and 1 year we did Garden Home.
Oh, because Kelly, that's right, because Kelly had the tree.
Mm-hmm.
They had the giving tree, right? This time?
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that is now a new business. Anybody thoughts on that, concerns?
I mean, oh, go ahead.
Is it just a question whether we should do it? Because I think, yes, we should do it again.
Yeah, I guess that is the question. And I know that Jaspreet mentioned some of the needs. It would also be nice if we could support and some of the local businesses. While I think it's great to do Fred Meyer, I don't know if there's suggestions about particular local businesses that we could try and support with the gift cards, if people have suggestions.
Is there like a BG food cart pod gift card or something like that?
They do.
Oh, really?
Gift cards.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that would be interesting too. I think there's, yeah, something like that, because I agree with, I understand the diversity and the help of doing a Home Depot or a Target or a Fred Meyer, but there's also, I think that's handled, I think it's the same thing. It's handled that the bigger groups can give to the more generic and things, and the smaller, like the NACs, should be supporting specifically targeted at something within, especially within the NAC, but within some of the other business. All right, so yeah, so we'll add that then to the agenda under old business for discussion of what to do and how many and
well, we kind of, don't we need to decide that now so that we can have it going before December?
Tracy, that's an excellent question. If I may jump in really quickly, we'd love for you to take the lead on this. And the reason I love that Sheri and folks just organically brought up, let's support local businesses. And our thinking behind just sharing some of the larger retailers was that if there's a family and they want to, because we're prioritizing working with Title I schools with the Beaverton School District, as well as Beaverton Family Promise, which works specifically with homeless individuals, both families and individuals experiencing homelessness. And so because, again, we're limited in our ability in terms of what we can collect, so we were hoping to get your, there's certainly no limit to the kind of gift cards we can accept. And all we're asking for is your creativity. And then if you could just help spread the word to our neighbors and inspire more people to share as much as they can. If anyone's not able to at this point, I think even, again, there's no limit, there's no minimum. We start at $5 and then go up to $50. Because $5 can get you a stocking stuffer for anyone, or a box of crayons or something of that sort. So that was the intent, and I'd love to hear the group's thoughts about if there's any specific help that you would like in terms of, I know gift cards can be dropped off at any of our 5 open locations. Front desk staff will have, I think by now they should have set up creative displays to drop off your gift card, so it's at a safe physically distanced manner, but they're also happy to answer any questions. And if either of you come up with any questions after this meeting, please feel free to reach out directly, and I will add my email into the chat box here.
Yeah, I think that Kelly did a really, really good job of that in the last, I want to say it was 2 years now, because she'd set that up before. So yeah, Sheri, did you have a thought on, did you want to do what we did last year? Was there something different because of the COVID situation? What were you thinking?
No, I was thinking of doing something similar. I'd have to go back and double check. I think we spent, I want to say like 300 or 400, or maybe it was 200. I can't remember exactly.
I think we gave something between 100 and 200 and let you decide. And I think, or it was 100 and some, and I think you went over it a little bit, which was fine.
I was going to say it was 250. So
okay.
somewhere in that.
But I think the difference. I think the difference was that they had the giving tree, and Kelly brought the cards over for us, so that we had that, because she had because I think Sheri went to fill out the tickets, right? Sounds like it's a different process. So maybe we can think about if you want to just do a bunch of gift cards, or how we would do that support.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think like of just, again, local businesses, and maybe I'll do some more investigative work into specific local businesses in our NAC. Otherwise, just sort of randomly, I was thinking maybe just getting, for example, for local businesses, I could get like 3 or 4 $10 gift cards to like Jan's Paperbacks, but then also maybe do some of the ones like the Fred Meyer or the Target as well. So just a variety, but just with the local businesses in mind as well.
Right. Okay, sounds good. All right, so we'll list that under old business. Sheri, more?
Do we need to, so that Sheri can proceed, vote on an amount and then let her at her discretion, as part of the motion, diversify the types of cards, but give her an amount, or at least again, so that there's something documented, so she has.
Yeah, usually I thought the reason we brought it up right now was that usually you would bring it would be old business or new business this time, and then you would make a motion on it to decide on that, but we don't
have time. That's my point.
Right,
we have to do it now.
The other thing, we don't have all the, I guess there's not really a discussion point on that. Because usually you would list it out so that people could chime in and discuss at your next meeting. Lani, is there an issue with that then? Is there some sort of, just from a protocol standpoint? Because we did not discuss it before. Okay.
We've always just decided, so I don't see why we can't just,
well, okay.
The whole board's here.
I think it was always late before, so just making sure. So, okay.
Do we want to say 200 or do we want to say 250?
That's what the motion.
Okay. So
I move we approve $250 for Sheri to spend at her discretion for the THPRD project.
I'll second.
Okay.
Glad you had that clarifying part.
Thank you. Tracy made the motion, Sheri second. Any final discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Excellent, motion passes unanimous. And with that then, okay, and then we'll let you report back on next month then. Does that work then?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks, Tracy.
Could I just add thank you? Really appreciate everyone taking the lead on this. And the deadline for this is December 15th. We're collecting gift cards until December 15th, after which these will be distributed to schools. Tracy, nice to see your furry friend there. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Is there any final business? There was, I wanted to say there's one that, Rick?
Yeah, Ernie, I got a question for you. I had a couple of neighbors who came to me in the Royal Woodlands area. Apparently in the last month, 3 cars have tried to drive down the little bike path between Chestnut and 5th that pops out at the backside of 5th and Western. The cars, I mean, I don't know whether it's Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever it is, but it's telling them that's a road. And so what they've done is literally tried to drive down that space. There's not enough room. So is that something we then approach the city about to say, hey, I think you need to put signage on it that says bike path only, don't drive down this way?
Yeah, that.
Or is that a bike committee deal?
No, that is something that we could send and report, or BCCI or whoever's getting it could report to the city. Basically, you'd send that to the traffic commission, or not to the traffic commission, you'd send that to the traffic engineer and Jabra, and the traffic engineers. Signage is, signage like that is under their purview, so they can put that up. Like they can put a no parking sign within 50 feet of an intersection without a traffic commission notice. That's up to their discretion to say, obviously this is dangerous, we can put that in. For some stuff they have to go through traffic commission, but something like that, they would just put signage, you know, not a through street, complete dead end or something like that. And I wonder if that's, in addition to the 5th Street, I wonder if it's because the other one going straight down to the end of the cul-de-sac looks like it goes through.
Well, exactly. Well, but they put in the big bollards. So there's now
Yeah.
big, you know, there's 4 big bollards at the end of the road, but there's nothing on that little cut through.
Yeah,
And
there's
so-
not, now that I think about it, you're right. But I wonder if that's, they kind of go through, I wonder if it was sending them down there originally to the end of the cul-de-sac, and then they see this other one street, and then they think, oh, okay, I'll try that.
Could be.
I don't know. Or they, you know, hey, there's nothing stopping me. I'll take a shortcut because there are some people. Wow. Okay.
So,
Okay.
so if Rick sends me that information, I'll
I
just
will.
forward it to Jabra, our traffic engineer,
Okay.
and
Can do.
CC you, Ernie.
Perfect. Thank you. And then the last thing on that, as we end then under, I don't know, it's kind of semi-new business, Lani, was Rick and I had actually talked about when we heard through the grapevine was more the point. And then I saw the article in the paper as well about in and out. And I had hoped and thought that there was a reciprocity between the communication, because I understand that that's a commercial deal and they were going to take over the building that was out there, and there was going to be a, it did need a zoning change because there was a restaurant in there before and they were going to put a restaurant in there after, but we didn't hear anything about possibility of tearing down the business and moving in. I mean, the only reason we heard about Chick-fil-A was because they wanted to tear down, they wanted to merge the two lots. They were going to clear all the stuff out of there. And then they were going to change the ingress egress. But unless they go through that and it was part of the city, it's the same thing that the city was, or that some of those folks had complained about, because right across the street, none of the people heard about the Chick-fil-A. And so it was interesting here, it was the same thing. We didn't hear anything about possible business and when it affects the traffic and everything. Are you folks getting that? And
If it's going through the city process, it'll eventually get on our radar, because we you know, when we go to the planning departments, their staff meetings, and we get, you know, a heads up when things are coming, and then Miles goes to all the pre-app appointments.
but is he going? But is he going to the county ones? Because this was, since it was in the county, we didn't hear anything about it, and so it's the same thing. And I think Rick and I had brought that up before, that's where part of the contention. It was the same with OBRC. It was the people on the other side of the street behind them that are county that are going through the different thing. It was the same complaint we had on 92nd or 96th, whatever that. I can't think of what the project was called. It was the boat thing or some sailor deal. I don't remember what the project was, where they were going to put the 13 units down there on 96th. I think we need a way to hear when the county is doing things, and either we need to sign up for a list, but I thought that we were supposed to get information like that, because that's in the middle of the NAC.
Yeah, you know, we'll reach out to the CPO program and ask what suggestions they have, because you're right, it's the same exact scenario of Chick-fil-A. And then, but I would have thought we would have heard about it. Usually you hear through the rumor mill, and we could have at least given you guys a heads up, but it kind of snuck up on us too. So
right. Well, Rick and I both did, and then it came out in the paper before anybody actually said anything, and it's kind of like, you know, and then that, and I mean, the questions before were coming along, and then all of a sudden the article comes, and then, okay, what's going on? And you know, I don't know if people reached out to Rick, but it's the same thing where you're hearing stuff from different sources, and it seems like as often as we've gone through things, it's on 107th and that whole area in there is just this quagmire of it's in, it's out, it's in, it's out. And then on the other side is county, because you get far enough up there, and it's Washington County, it's Multnomah County, it's unincorporated, and then it's city, and it's such a patchwork.
Yeah,
it would really help if there's a way to get that.
So I'll reach out to the county and see what if there's some easy steps in the meantime. I also wanted to make sure, I know Rick, you're on the land use subcommittee on BCCI, right?
Yep.
I know this is something we should probably also flag for BCCI in terms of, especially the NACs that deal with these really fun boundary lines. I think there might be, if we put some focus on it, maybe we can have some solutions at fingertips.
Right. Okay, yeah, I appreciate that, because it definitely has been, I think, sometimes a struggle. So, yeah, that helps. And I think for a while, when I was going to the CPO3 meetings, then we were hearing a lot of that, and we somehow got all that info. So I'm not sure how it kind of got missed. All right.
That's exactly what I was about to ask.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
that's exactly
Sheri?
what I was about to ask as to whether CPO3 had any indications about this, because at the very least, it seems as though we might be able to get on the mailing list for their agenda or have access to the minutes, and then we would have at least not been blindsided.
Well, you can go to their CPO3 page, but I think the problem is that it didn't require a planning permit, because they're tearing down a restaurant and they're putting in a restaurant, and they were going to modify it. I don't know if Rick heard anything different, but they were at one point going to try and reuse the building.
That's sneaky.
Same as what was the other one that was Carl Jr. That was going to become Chipotle was going to do that, and
Walmart.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
Walmart
we
did.
that went.
Yeah.
Oh.
But they didn't have to. Yeah, Walmart didn't have to run it by us before they did anything.
Right, because
Yeah,
that was
Chipotle,
Zupan to
Chipotle
Zupan.
should be open within the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
But if In-N-Out goes in next to Chick-fil-A, that area at 101st is going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. All right. I will say though, on one thing, thankful at least, Lani, that we're still getting in the monthly new business license people. So that's interesting to see. I appreciate getting that, because you look through and you can see it. And for the most part, it's, somebody trying to open a essential oils business out of their house, and and it's whatever apartment 1503, and you're like, okay, well, this guy's or person's running out of their house. So I appreciate we get that, to see some of the changes and some of the not necessarily the bigger ones, but you kind of get a feel for what's going on. So I appreciate when at least we get those. So thank you. All right, anything else for anybody? Anything for next month to bring up? Okay, perfect. Then with that, we're adjourned, and we'll see you next month. Do we need anything else, Lani? All right, then.
Sorry, Ernie, were we needing to ask our visitor about anything?
Oh, the visitor left.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. All right, then.
All
Good
right.
catch. Thank you. All right.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Jaspreet.
Bye.